Hi everyone, I'm back again. And for those who may not be appreciative of these videos, just turn it off. I am doing what God has called me to do. I would have started back in about 2010 when I started to do the game. And the game called Roundabouts of Life. And one of the cards says, going after positive actions and dreams will not be easy, but it will be worth it. Just be careful who you share your dreams with. Not everyone will be happy for you and help you. And the consequences for this is that you took the advice and by the end of your life realized your dreams. You've accumulated $100,000. Now, thus far I've realized many dreams, and I just want to give God thanks for it. I'm sorry for those who don't know Him as Lord and Savior. He has been really, really good to me. And so it took me a while to actually do these videos, and it does take me some time to come around to do it because it's taken like some of my privacy to an extent to share. And I'm sharing because I keep asking who is going to leave something for the others, the other generation to pick up on, to know to keep going, to know not to give up, to understand that life has its challenges, but with God you can overcome, and with perseverance. I have to keep that before my mind and try my best. So in 2010, I'm like, people will give up if they see these type of obstacles, and who is going to look after us? Who will lead if we don't start putting things in places or in place so that our youth can lead us properly, guide us properly? Who will take care of us? We have a situation now where people can't read. Who's going to read the notes when we're going to the hospital? Who is going to run the banks? Who are we going to entrust our money to if we are all for ourselves and we don't worry about those who are not within our home, who are not within our who are not our children, etc.? Who will represent us? And so these are some of the points that I really wanted to kind of hone into on this particular post, this particular video. We have realized that everybody's to themselves. We are no longer under a model where our village raises children, our community raises children. You can't even speak to certain children, some you don't see. And the question is then, who then will guide our children? How will we know how they are doing? Sometimes we only know because when we see them in the media or stuff like that. And the children who are doing well are those who have a lot of money. Now, I want to bring you back to my situation where I had a mother who was not responsible. So I lived in a house with aunts and uncles, but they were only concerned with their children. And I can only speak for myself. I really can't speak for my brother and my sister because I was abused sexually. And I'm sure that my aunt's boyfriends and those who abused me would have seen that I was easy prey. Now, if my aunts had considered that, you know what, she's still our family. You know what, I'm still going to look out for her. You know what, I'm still going to look out for the children whose parents are not there. Then when we who did well would not be thinking, well, they were not for us. We who eventually still came out well, would not think that we were orphans or stuff like that. And again, I can only speak for myself, right? But all I saw was that my aunts and most of my aunts who were there, they were only there for their children. And I kind of had to, like, every abuse I had to keep to myself. And I am seeing this where people have become selfish in raising children and taking care of their others who are close to them. And this includes not only those in the household, but even our neighbors. Look out for them, give them a little helping hand when needed, as if they accept. But if we are kind and people know our motivation and our way of living, then they can trust us. I am saying this because right now we have a lot of violence in the country. And if we keep to ourselves and say it doesn't bother us, we can see that there are senseless killings, and any of us can be walking on the road and any of these senseless gunshots can actually affect us or our children. Now, let's not look only at Barbados, but let's look at overseas. Let's look at what's happening with America, where Trump is trying to make America great again. People who did nothing wrong, who just went overseas to try to make a better life, are being deported. And I don't know for those who want to act like if nothing is wrong and it doesn't affect them, but I mean, most of us have somebody who's overseas who we are praying that they do well, who at some point in time would have sent back things for us, and at the end of the day we would have benefited, if not now, before. How can we shut a blind eye to this? And I keep seeing this type of selfish living kind of spilling over to show that that model is not working. We need to look out for each other again. We need to help out each other. We need to start from living for ourselves. And I want to give in to another point where even in the workplace, I find that people are just me-minded. They don't care about others. And so in the game Roundabouts of Life, we would have done another card that says, after waiting for this job, you find an unethical culture in the workplace. Your culture comes back again. Remember, I spoke about culture before. And you feel the culture. You don't necessarily have to be told about it. You see, you observe, and you know what's going on. And you know if you say certain things or if you do certain things, it's not accepted. Just by the feeling, just by the atmosphere alone. So it says, after waiting for this job, you find an unethical culture in the workplace where cliques and persecution of others is standard. You feel pressured to join in or may not be recommended for that post after the probationary or first thing. What do you do? And this particular consequence says, take the bitter pill and do what is right and reap the benefits. Don't do wrong to please anybody. God is watching. For that, you go forward 5 spaces. Now, I want to give you my own experience. Remember, I said that I was going to give my experiences, my perspectives, and allow you to weigh in on them. Now, from the time I went into the government of Barbados, people say they learn about you even before you get at the particular departments or organizations. But we too learn of the organization. Now, you go into this organization and you have people that hide information, pertinent information from you. You have people that, because you are ambitious, let me say for me, again, my experiences, I am ambitious, so I'm driving a truck. You see people like trying to oust you, like being watching here, if I'm trying to get their jobs or something like that. And the things that they have done to me over the years in the government system, including the leaders, is not good enough, right? So what are some of the things that were done? Let me say to you that I remember hiring for the government, and I had a principal personnel officer whom I thought was close. But from the time I shared with her that I had gotten my mortgage approved, she started to try to get me into trouble. And I was like, what is this? And so she kept attacking me until I went to the union for her. After that, I was transferred to a lower post. I worked there for 2 years. I had no bad thing. But I have seen that when people who don't want you to succeed are in high positions, they can actually sabotage you throughout the system. So she transferred me back to a lower post after working hard up to 3 o'clock on mornings, and then returning back to work for 8:15. I was reverted to stenographer typist, and I just couldn't believe it, but it worked out to an extent. After that, I was asked if I wanted to work in a higher position again. And this is where they put me to work. And the man was saying, but Nicole, you work so well. Why are you here? Anyway, this is the deputy that spoke to me. And he said he found a position for me to work in. And he asked if I would want that. And I said yes. Well, the following week, I had to go into the position. But the Friday, the director, remember the deputy director that got me the job, the director called me in his office and told me he commanded me not to attend to that post the next week. Right? And I am tempted to call names, but I would hold off on that for now. Because that man is now a permanent secretary. These are some of the things that I would say to you that I had to resign from the government from because there's no way that people will make me or think that I will do certain things for a higher position. I don't want it. I don't want that money. I prefer my peace. So that guy who had nothing on me, who knew that I didn't do anything wrong, called me to his office and told me he commanded me not to report to that job. While I went to that job, another deputy director there gave me trouble, and he was a Christian, and I asked him, is this what God called you to do? And then he said, after he came back and he apologized, and he said, Nicole, I'm sorry. And when that particular time was up, I was asking if it had been extended, and nobody could have responded to me. And when I went out, somebody took my vehicle, my truck's rear view mirrors, and twisted them all around and stuff like that to scare me so I wouldn't come back. You're asking if this is happening in a government job? Are you? It is, and it does happen. Right now we have in Barbados a lot of people resigning and a lot of people dying on the job. And working in Barbados is a fearful situation right now. Everybody fears for their lives. People are afraid. You want a job to help with your challenges. And yet there are people who are in the job that are causing more challenges. Why would you do that? We don't need to do that to people. You don't need to add to people's stresses. So last week, today is the 26th of January, 2025. And last week, I would have worked with this lady, Oriel Haynes, at 45 years old. She's dead. You know how many have died? There are people being put under so much pressure to keep their bills paid. And when I think about it, I say to myself, it does not make sense that I will go and try to get money to pay bills, but have to end up paying a doctor. I want to caution you who do wickedness just for money, or who keep your mouth shut just to keep a job. That's not what God called us to do. We need to speak out. There's just too much wickedness happening in this country. Right now, as I would have hinted at before, I would have been in an accident on August 31st. Corporators General, they accept liability. The gentleman said that he took his eyes off of the road. I have a hurt back. And Corporators General told me to go that they sent the thing to their lawyer. Their lawyer telling me she don't know when she's going to get back to me. Now, how is it that I would have paid Sagicor my money to pay to be insured on the road, to do right. I'm just trying to show you, because doing right does not mean that you will get right happening to you, and this is not right. We need, as a people, to come together and stop from being so segregated and separated and thinking that we're minding our own business, not knowing that our time will come. We need to make sure we pull together and strengthen this cord so that we will show that we are a force to reckon with when we come to wickedness. I work hard to make sure that my bills are paid. I make sure my insurance is paid up, my real tax is paid up. I made sure that at the end of the day, I did right. I did nothing wrong, and yet Corporators General is not paying their dues. Sagicor, who I am insured with, has left me out there to fight my battles on my own. And yet, the government of Barbados is saying that they are leaving this whole road accident situation to be dealt with by the insurances, who we all know are corrupt. Now, one person alone is not going to do it. I need you to help me. I need you to pull your insurance from Corporators General. They have ads that saying that they do this and they do that. But yet, I spoke to somebody the other day and they said that they got in an accident where their vehicle was written off. And yet, Sagicor is telling them they didn't do anything for 5 years, and then they told them that if he does not accept liability, that when they go to court and if they win, he has to pay all of their legal fees. So he settled for the little that they gave him. This is wickedness. Another man I worked with in government, he said that he waited and waited and waited, and then after the time, so Corporators General did not come through again for him. The other gentleman who would have lost his car in the accident, he would have been insured. The Corporators General insurance would have insured client would have hit him as well and written off his vehicle. These things are not right after people have done what is right. And the government needs to set these things right. But if the government is not doing right on its own, then they can't set other people right. And so we need to get these things corrected. I'm asking you to join me. All right? Help me to help make the world a better place. Help me by making your space a better place for people to reside, for people to deal with issues and address issues. Help me. Help me by looking out for others beyond ourselves. Look out for your neighbors. We have too many people going astray in violence and in crime. We need to stop it. Right? We need to stop them thinking that because the people don't live in our homes, it doesn't affect us. When we can see violence all around us, when we can see what Trump is doing is affecting so many different households in different ways because of this deportation and making America great again. How do we deal with this? I need you to help me. Okay, let's get concerned about others and allow others to get concerned about us. Right? If not, we will continue to see a trickle-down effect. I hope that I have encouraged you to do better. The government system, those who are working in it, not only government system, in workplaces. Let's start from doing wickedness. Let's start from seeing wickedness and leave it unattended. There's a picture that is on I think ABC News called "What Would You Do?" We don't sit and see people being exploited and being done wrong and turn a blind eye. You help others. I mean, even in the government system, we have Christians that used to turn a blind eye just because they wanted to keep their money, just to make sure that they get their bills paid. But come on, how long would that stay if you got children that are going to go in the same system? Why don't you make a change while you can now? Just encouraging you. Thank you. God's blessings on you. And I pray that, with God, we can do all things. All things are possible with God. And I encourage you to get Jesus on board by accepting him in your heart as Lord and Savior. He has helped me, and I'm sure he will help you. God bless you. Bye-bye.